One of the most engaging parts of the pals in Palworld is that you get to ride them around. But out of all of the different flying mounts, which ones are actually worth it and what are the best ones that you can get throughout your journey? Today I'm going to be talking about the statistics and the math on all of the different ride pals that you're going to be getting in Palworld.
I would like to welcome you to Austin John. My piano is so out of tune.
Today we are going to be talking about the different flying pals that you're going to be getting access to. Now there's two different categories of flying pals considered flight plus hover, like Nightwing over here, that if it completely ran out of stamina while it was on top of water, it would be absolutely fine. It would just kind of hover above the water, as opposed to pals that are considered flight plus ground, like Frost Stallion over here. If Frost Stallion were to run out of stamina while on top of water, it would drown. The only thing you're really missing out on is that you're pretty much just flying a pony in the air. Today I'm going to actively be comparing Nightwing, who you get at level 15, Vanworm, who you get at level 21, Hellzephyr that you get at level 33, Beacon that you get at level 34, Ragnarok that you get at level 37, Polaris that you get at level 38, Vanworm Chris that you get at level 41, and Jet Dragon that you get at level 15. Jet Dragon, however you want to say that. And what I did for my tests is I set up this shape right here and this small stool. I started all of the pals on this small stool, and if you look to the north, I have a marker 274 meters in the distance. I went to my max height, and then I rode the pal all the way to the end. I did this as one test, and then I also did the same test with them sprinting toward that north marker. I also decreased their stamina by 50%, that way this would be a faster test and I could do some of these tests 3 or 6 times over. I also compared a few different things, such as if I were to have a pal who was not an alpha versus a pal who is an alpha, if I had a pal with no beneficial passive skills for speed as opposed to if they had swift, if they had runner, or if they have legend. I compared the Christ variation of Vanworm to the regular version, and also I compared if they had 0 powered up stars or 1 powered up star. And some of the results were pretty interesting. And after running these tests time over time, I came to some interesting conclusions. First of all, there's absolutely no difference if a pal is an alpha or not. My Nightwing versus my Nightwing alpha, the time that they came in was within half a second of each other, and the total meters per second was 200ths of a second off. I'm gonna round that to human error, it's exactly the same. Secondly, the regular Vanworm versus the Vanworm Christ. Despite this being level 41 and the regular being level 21, there is absolutely no difference in its speed, coming in at 22.45 versus 22.63. Human error, I ran these tests 3 times each. That's the average of all 3 of these tests. Comparing the times of the Vanworm Swift and the Ragnarok Runner to their non-special partner skills. The regular came in at a speed of 6.9 meters per second compared to 8.94 meters per second, exactly 30% faster. And the other one was 7.93 versus 9.44, again, 20% faster. The duration in which they remained in the air was exactly the same, but the amount of distance that they covered in that time was 30% further. So any of these speed up traits that they get, like Swift or Runner, they're going to be going faster over the same amount of time. Once I was able to cancel out a lot of, the similarities, I then started running all my tests on the sprinting speeds. Inside of the data mine, you come up with the actual sprinting speeds, like there's actual values for them. However, that doesn't directly correlate to your experience while flying one of these pals, because you're going to be jumping up, which takes stamina. You're going to be moving some distance before you actually hit that sprint button. So your actual experience compared to just this flat number is very different. There's also some pals I did not include in this, as far as Suzaku and Suzaku Aqua, because right here in this column, I've created what I consider the value of that ride pal, meaning that Aestagon's speed being 800 and unlocked at level 47, its value as a ride pal is 17, compared to Polaris over here, whose sprint speed is going to be 1400 unlocked at level 38, its value is 37. It's a real rough, chaotic number, but it kind of gives you a good idea. Vanworm Chris being absolutely horrible, unlocked toward the last 9 levels of the game, just because it's a fun rainbow color. And the Suzakus are immediately outclassed by things that are even before it. Just because it's going to be a higher level does not mean that it's going to be moving further or faster. So on screen are the numbers on the amount of time that they remained in the air, the total distance that they covered, and the calculated meters per second. But none of this information is helpful without the takeaways. Let's get to the takeaways. I then also decided to calculate all of the speeds of every single one of the pals in this test, with mostly their sprint range and sprint speed being the most important things I'm looking at, because that's what you care about the most. And then also calculating if they had the runner trait or the swift trait or both of them, because I don't want to exclude any specific types of playstyles. You may be on a server that has reduced EXP gains for longevity of the server. And here are the final takeaways. You're going to be unlocking Nightwing at level 15. If your Nightwing doesn't have runner or swift, soon as you unlock Van Worm at level 21, immediately upgrade to him. However, if your Nightwing has runner or swift, then that Nightwing is going to be able to go not as far, but faster than that Van Worm. And honestly, the distance isn't typically the problem when it comes to ride pals in the air. Just don't sprint and you can go much further. If you were to get a Van Worm with runner / swift, it's going to obviously outclass the Nightwing with runner or swift, but it's going to be beat by Ragnarok. The difference is that's 16 levels that you have to wait. This is a huge jump up in levels right here. So if you're going to be playing in an experience that it's going to take a long time to go from level 21 to the 30s, like if your EXP gain is reduced from 1 to 0.5, 0.2, whatever it is, you may want to breed yourself a Van Worm with runner and swift. It's going to be immediately outclassed by Ragnarok, Hellzipher, and everything else, but for those 16 levels, it's going to be your best friend. And then we get to the mess of mid-30s. Mid-30s, you're getting access to Hellzipher, Ragnarok, Phalaris, and Beacon, all 4 of these. Now, if you get any of them with the runner or swift trait, that's going to be fantastic. I wouldn't go out of my way to get those traits on any of them except for Ragnarok or Phalaris, because Phalaris is going to be the best one that you could have with runner or swift, or even better, both of them, before you hit the level 50 Jet Dragon Legendary Pal. However, I would recommend, if you were to breed and actually do a lot of work in order to get one of these to be really good, Ragnarok you will utilize at level 50. Even after you have a Jet Dragon, you will still use a well-bred Ragnarok. And you want to know why that is? Caves. Caves is why that is. If you want to make your way through these caves as fast as possible, your ride pal, Jet Dragon doesn't fit. He doesn't fit through these entranceways. But Ragnarok, as long as it is not an alpha, is going to fit through these cave entrances, no problem. He can just hop on your bird, make your way all the way to the back, and immediately be in that final room. When you're in the later caves in the ice area, your ability to get to the back faster is going to make your time going through them so much more enjoyable. Ragnarok, can you murder things, please? Thank you. As soon as you're done, take him out, toss him back down, get your loot, and get the heck out. And absolutely none of the other pals are able to go through caves that easily. Now, there's one other small detail I would like to talk about, and that has to do with the partner skill level. You're going to see this Van Worm Crest over here at level 2 versus level 1 for Aerial Marauder, right? Aerial Marauder says can be readied as a flying mount, increases damage dealt to enemy weak points while mounted. Level 2, same thing. This does not increase any sort of flying speed, stamina, or anything else for any single one of these ride pals except Nightwing. Nightwing's travel companion, can be ridden as a flying mount, is the only flying, hovering, flying pal that you have that if you were to get more of them, travel companion becomes better. Now, how much better does it become? I actually managed to get a Nightwing who has runner, so he's going to be the base of my testing. I bring them up to the point, and then we sprint forward. And I make a note of the very first frame that they begin their fall animation. We do another second test of them just walking forward. Let's go ahead and consolidate and upgrade this bad boy. And now we recreate our test. So from the data mine, it just said that after you upgrade it, it says Nightwing 10, 12, 15, 20, and I had no idea what these values are. Are they flat numbers added on top of that? But after running these tests with Nightwing at a sprinting and walking speed at level 0 and level 1, it was pretty much exactly 8%. Now, this also includes me doing that jump up to altitude, which includes a jump, which does deplete stamina. So I'm starting to think that this 8.25%, we're looking at 10%. That 10 that it said before, 10%. So a level 4 sprint plus runner Nightwing clocks in at 54.3 on range and 12.9 meters per second. That makes us faster than a base Hellzipher at level 33, also faster than a base Ragnarok at level 37, and faster than a level 34 Beacon. In fact, the only thing that puts us behind is Polaris. Granted, our range of 54 is worse than everything else, but you know, if you really need that range, just go slow and you can squeeze it out of there. Because our no sprint range, we're looking at 201 meters, and we come on par of pretty much everything except for Polaris, which is obvious because Polaris has ridiculous range. So if you're on a server that is very taxing and very punishing on how far you can actually go as far as your experience, getting a level 4 Nightwing with runner and sprinter is probably worth it. So that's the one exception to this entire chart that I talked about before on who you should get and when you should upgrade. Great. Well, guys, I hope this video was informative and helpful on which ride pals you should be choosing on your journey in Palworld. If it was, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe here, Austin John Gaming, Austin John's non-Nintendo content. Until next time, Austin John out.